So this is gonna be involving, hopefully this I can send this right. So it's gonna be involving activity, one of our activities for our labs by ASD. So basically the study that I did, it involved 60 boys. I have like my notes right here, so if I keep looking, that's what I'm looking at. But it involved 60 boys between the ages of 4 and 11 years old, and they were all diagnosed with autism. And so, and they were living in like this care facility in China. So they were divided into two groups, an experimental group that received ABA care, and a control group that continued like their usual routine. And so this is gonna dive into like the methods and like the intervention of how this all came about. And so the experimental group that participated in the ABA, they improved with social interactions, communication, and daily living skills. Because the sessions included like different activities, and that would help children be able to recognize different emotions and how to navigate different conversations, and even use like different social cues. And of course, data was collected during these times and just observed and measured and all of that. So all that good stuff, measured in like an emotional and social functioning way. And like the findings and results from the experimental and control group was actually fairly interesting. So after they completed the ABA program, the children in the experimental group, they demonstrated significant improvements with like their emotional awareness, daily living skills, and social communication. All that was, they developed that more than individuals in the control group. And the results indicated that ABA can be a very effective tool, and not only to just like challenge behaviors, but also just like that emotional social growth that they really needed, and they needed that help with that. And also discussion slash implication. I'm going to be talking like my discussion. So those were the results. Now like a little discussion to kind of back in on that. And I just want to say like that is actually very cool, and I think like it should be done more often. I know I saw this specific study in China. I'm pretty sure there's more in the US, but this one really caught my attention because it was fairly a large amount of groups. But also there could be like different implications like they could have done as well, but I'm gonna talk about that at the end. So I think that, you know, it highlights very important approaches, and how ABA is very functional and very helpful in support to both behavior and emotional development, because that's just something big. Because I know like people just target ABA with, oh, a kid's acting out, they need ABA, but it's like, no, it helps with an emotional group, like it says social, everything like that. It's more than that. And you know, like this is very important implications for any, you know, caregivers who work with them, educators, any therapists that work with kids on the spectrum. And just by focusing on those skills, it can promote a really long-term outcome for these kids, and just like a children's communication, like relationship functionality in a very positive way. And now just talking about limitations like future research sorry, my throat, that could have been implemented. You know, although the results were really good, it did have some limitations, especially because one already caught my attention. They were all males. There wasn't any females involved, and of course male will have a lot. They're not the same. It's very different. So and just like from one setting, like I was explaining earlier, this was just from China, so I don't know exactly how this would work in like a US setting, if that would make any difference, if like another country would make difference, you know, all of that. And it was a pretty short amount of time that they did it for. I feel like if it was like more of a long-term study, then this would for sure have way more data, but it was a short term. So if they would have done long-term, I feel like that would have brought them a little more challenges and a little more realisticness to it. And they didn't really explain any improvements that they would want to do in the future. They just basically said, suggested more further research and different follow-ups. But it's really cool. It's a really cool study. I think it should be done more often in different places of the world. But yeah, that's my little take on that.